was a doomsday scenario unfolding right on our doorsteps. Lockdowns, quarantines, cities deserted, travel disrupted, and the bond that bound us broken. The prolonged COVID-19 outbreak has spread out to the world's poorest mental health rates. Human needs socialization, but everything starts at 2020. Having lunch and dinner at a restaurant, meeting friends, walking around, and jogging at the park now seems impossible and might be a dream. It's been almost 2 years living in the darkest days. We know the damage it did to our economies, the death toll that keeps escalating day by day. But does it ever cross your mind how staying at home 24 hours a day could affect us by being cut off from each other due to our mental well-being? Hi, my name is Fatin Nadia Binti Khairul Anuar, and today I'll be talking about how the Movement Control Order MCO could lead to depression. The earliest cases of COVID-19 were detected and reported on 25th January 2020 with no death and complete recovery on all cases. However, the second wave started on 27 February 2020 and keep on spiraling till the cases hit thousands per day, and currently it's almost 30,000 of death cases due to COVID-19 in Malaysia. This is the starting point where the government started implementing the Movement Control Order MCO since 18th March 2020 that encompassed the restriction of movements, assembly, mass gatherings and international travel, and also mandated the closure of business, government and educational institutions to curb the spread of coronavirus. It is devastating not to live like we used to do. Some have lost their loved ones and some are struggling with mental health like anxiety and depression. Based on the news and research, the first reason how MCO could lead to depression is the disruption of social rhythm among people in daily life during the pandemic. The overwhelming feeling like uncertainty, loneliness, and grief are wearing people down. Among all, I could say teenagers and children may experience long-term effects on COVID-19 on their mental health and well-being. By that, the quarantines and MCO has disrupted the social rhythm and social engagement, as it is one of the human natures that need to be connected. When they can't do what they always do, this will be the significant problem rooted in the depression cases that keep increasing in Malaysia till today. From the first day of MCO implementation till the end of 2020, there were 262 cases of attempted suicide in the country, and even more surprisingly, according to the Director General of Health, Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah, from January till July 2021, there were 638 cases reported, making the percentage of suicide rates rise to 143% this year. In the same way, practicing social distancing and quarantine have strictly forced teenagers or an individual to stay at home for extended period of time. If someone has already lived in a toxic home environment, spending longer time at home could be emotionally exhausting. This scenario could have happened to the high school and university students who are struggling in online distance learning (ODL). The lack of self-motivation has been one of the primary reasons most of the students failed during the online learning and get depressed. Most of them feel left out without anyone constantly urging them to do the tasks and assignments. The self-study session feels dull as they have no one to refer and ask, no lecturers in front of them, and not even their friends. Even worse, for the low-income family who cannot afford to provide one device for each of their children, and they have to take turn to use one laptop. Also, the unstable internet connection problem and the unconducive home environment make it harder for them to survive in their studies. Still, no matter what, they know they need to pull themselves together and struggle on their own. They will keep everything to themselves, pretending like everything is fine without knowing it could be the silent killer and this is one of the reasons why MCO could lead to depression. Moving on to the second point, the MCO could lead to depression due to financial constraint. The longer the pandemic continues, the more damage it seems to leave in its wake, and this can be seen clearly in our economic condition. Other than children and teenagers, adults may also suffer mental health such as depression due to financial situation amid the pandemic. Most of them face the challenge and the devastation from losing their current job because the employers couldn't afford to pay the salaries of the employees, and some of them have to shut their companies as mandated by the government to the closure of business and few industries. Some people were struggling to put the food on the table even before the lockdown. Losing jobs due to MCO implementation could be a traumatic as it has a significant impact on a person's financial income and will affect the emotional and mental health well-being. They will constantly feel worried, fearful, and may experience self-loathing as they don't have enough money to provide enough necessities for the children and families. As well as that, according to the Companies Commissions of Malaysia, SSM, 9,675 small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, shut down their operation during the first phase of MCO from 18 March to 9 June 2020. This is all for the reason of people being quarantined and locked down at home. Thus, they can't go out and spend their money on the MCO for such an extensive period of MCO. And currently, the SME Corp Malaysia reported that more than 90% of small and medium businesses are at a risk of closing if the MCO implementation is prolonged. The issue of losing jobs and forced closing of SMEs is another reason MCO has hugely impacted people's life in this world. Losing the source of income, leading to financial constraint and difficulty to survive in daily life. As a result, the adults, especially the head of the family, will feel depressed, anxious, and insecure every day in finding ways to make a living for the sake of their families. The financial burden faced by the family makes the situation even harder, which leads to depression during the MCO. Undoubtedly, the MCO has affected the people severely in a different way. However, there are a few ways to deal with depression and anxiety during this pandemic situation. First, it is crucial to eat healthy food and drink enough plain water every day. We also must include exercises and any physical activities in our daily routine to ensure that we have a productive day. And lastly, we could take some time to do activities that makes us feel happy and fulfilled, such as writing a journal and watching movies. It is essential to pay attention to what we need and never lose hope in finding peace. To summarize, there are two main reasons how movement control order could affect most population and lead to severe mental health issue worldwide. The government needs to pay more attention to this issue. Hence, it will help decrease the rates of depression in the world and help reaching the hands of those in need. That's all from me. Thank you.